Tired of spending hundreds every week on groceries that barely stretch past Wednesday? While most of us are burning through cash at the supermarket, Amish families are feeding entire households on just a few dollars a day, using recipes passed down for generations. And today, you're about to learn all 50 of them. These aren't just meals. They're money-saving machines disguised as comfort food. If you're ready to slash your grocery bill and eat better than ever, let's get started. Overnight oatmeal. This humble dish is the very definition of efficient, frugal fuel. With just oats, milk, and seasonal fruit, Amish families create a breakfast that costs pennies per serving, but provides energy all morning. The simplicity allows for large batch prep and customization with whatever fruit is in season, apples in fall, berries in summer, reflecting the Amish principle of eating what's available, not what's marketed. It's also a perfect make-ahead solution for busy mornings, especially on farms where early chores demand hearty sustenance. The slow-release energy from oats supports physical labor while slashing breakfast costs by up to 80% compared to boxed cereal or instant mixes. As one Amish farmer noted, his morning bowl powered him through milking 12 cows before sunrise. It's economical, healthy, and rooted in practicality, exactly why this recipe has stood the test of time. Farm-fresh egg casserole. This dish is an ingenious solution to feeding large families on a tight budget without sacrificing nutrition. Instead of relying on loads of expensive meat, Amish families combine eggs with seasonal vegetables from the garden, zucchini, tomatoes, onions, even leftover potatoes, to create a protein-packed casserole that's hearty, filling, and incredibly cost-effective. Just one more egg and a few more vegetables can stretch the dish to serve 2 extra people. It's a common Sunday breakfast before church or a make-ahead weekday staple. Because it's prepared the night before, it supports early farm routines where there's no time for cooking in the morning. A farm with 20 hens can produce enough eggs for over 100 casseroles a season. That's enough to feed an entire Amish district for a month. The result is a warm, savory meal that feeds many, costs little, and nourishes both body and soul. Amish sourdough bread. True Amish sourdough is both a health booster and a money saver. The long fermentation process breaks down gluten, boosts mineral absorption, and develops complex, tangy flavor. But more importantly for the frugal cook, the sourdough starter, once established, replaces the need for commercial yeast permanently. Some Amish families have maintained their starters for over 7 generations, treating them like living heirlooms. Each feeding grows the culture, producing enough for daily loaves and sharing. This tradition embodies Amish values: stewardship, patience, and self-reliance. Nutritionally, sourdough's benefits are immense. Studies show it increases bioavailability of nutrients by over 60%. And in practical terms, it turns flour and water into a superfood with near zero recurring cost. In other words, it's the only bread that literally pays off with every bite. No-knead Amish bread that makes itself? That's the brilliance of this no-knead Amish bread recipe. It requires minimal ingredients: flour, water, yeast, salt, and even less effort. Time does the heavy lifting, with slow overnight fermentation creating a dough rich in flavor and texture. This technique originated from European traditions brought to America by Amish settlers and refined for homes without electricity. Amish bakers often use temperature variations in their homes. Warm spots speed up the rise, cool corners slow it down, eliminating the need for timers or gadgets. The cost per loaf is under $1, saving families hundreds per year compared to bakery bread. Beyond the savings, it's also a point of pride. Nothing fills a home with comfort like the smell of rising dough and baking bread. One Amish joke goes, "I finally bought a watch, but the bread still takes its sweet time." Amish dinner rolls. Amish dinner rolls are soft, pillowy, and, best of all, they come from repurposed water. That's right, the water left over from boiling potatoes, normally discarded, is used in place of milk to create fluffier rolls with zero waste. Developed during the Great Depression when dairy was scarce, this substitution provides starch that enhances dough elasticity and tenderness. Lancaster County families prefer sweet versions, while Indiana Amish often mix in herbs for savory bites. And unlike store-bought rolls, which can cost up to $5 per dozen, these homemade versions cost less than $1 and taste infinitely better. They're often served at church gatherings, weddings, or after barn raisings, warm from the oven and brushed with butter. For many, these rolls aren't just a side dish, They're a cherished memory wrapped in golden brown goodness. Easy Amish white bread. At just 80 cents per loaf, this soft and simple white bread is a cornerstone of the Amish kitchen. It's often the first recipe taught to young Amish girls by age 8, and it represents much more than food. It's a symbol of provision, care, and independence. Using only a few pantry staples, it produces loaves that rival or exceed anything store-bought in taste and texture. Its slightly sweet, soft interior and golden crust make it ideal for sandwiches, toast, or serving alongside soup. When baked in large batches, a typical Amish family can save over $2,500 per year just by making their own bread instead of buying it. And in households where commercial food is seen as both costly and impersonal, this bread delivers something far richer: the scent of home, the feel of tradition, and the taste of self-sufficiency. Chicken corn soup. A mainstay at Amish weddings and harvest dinners, chicken corn soup stretches both meat and corn into a community-sized meal with depth and tradition. Old-laying hens, too tough to roast, are simmered for hours to extract all their flavor and nutrients, while preserved dried corn from summer harvest is rehydrated to create chewy sweetness. Add in egg noodles or rivals, tiny dumplings, and a little parsley, and you've got a soup that's cheap but celebratory. This recipe was born out of respect for livestock and labor. Nothing is wasted, not even chicken feet or necks. It's also part of a barter system. Families who help shell corn or butcher chickens often receive soup shares as compensation. In one pot, the Amish blend resourcefulness, reverence, and reward. Canned tomatoes. A pantry staple in every Amish home, canned tomatoes are a key ingredient in soups, stews, sauces, and casseroles all year long. Families set aside specific weeks in late summer just for tomato preservation, whole days dedicated to washing, blanching, peeling, and canning. At peak ripeness, tomatoes are cheapest and most flavorful, so preserving them ensures savings throughout the year. Amish women know by touch and smell the exact moment a tomato is ready, and they use both water bath and pressure canning depending on the acidity of their heirloom varieties. The average family cans 50 to 70 quarts annually. That's a quart every few days. By doing so, they avoid off-season produce costs, reduce packaging waste, and control exactly what goes into their food. It's labor-intensive, yes, but in Amish households, it's a celebration of self-reliance. Amish sugar cookies. Amish sugar cookies are delightfully soft, mildly sweet, and made from basic pantry staples like flour, sugar, butter, eggs, and baking soda. These cookies are simple by design, created during times of rationing to maximize sweetness with minimal sugar. They're often the first baking lesson taught to children and appear at nearly every Amish event, from funerals to frolics. Inexpensive to make and scalable for large batches, these cookies are perfect for feeding crowds without breaking the bank. Families often stamp them with unique patterns or initials to identify whose batch is whose at gatherings, a charming tradition that turns simple cookies into personal tokens. Some recipes add nutmeg, others vanilla, but all share the same goal: a treat that's easy to make, easy to share, and endlessly comforting. Oatmeal pie. Born from necessity during lean times, oatmeal pie is the Amish community's clever replacement for pecan pie. When nuts were either too expensive or hard to find, oatmeal provided a similar texture and chew, suspended in a rich, sweet filling made from eggs, butter, sugar, and molasses, or corn syrup. The result is visually similar to the real thing and just as satisfying, all at a fraction of the cost. Some versions use maple syrup, honey, or sorghum, depending on what's available locally. It's a popular addition to holiday tables and community dinners, where thrift is still honored, even during celebration. Despite its humble origin, this pie has earned a permanent place in Amish dessert lore, showing that with creativity and resilience, you don't have to sacrifice flavor just because you're watching your wallet. Homemade pasta. No pasta maker? No problem. Amish pasta is rolled out with a wooden rolling pin and sliced into noodles by hand. The recipe is simple, just flour, eggs, and a pinch of salt, but the result is hearty and delicious. The process is often communal, with children rolling dough and elders slicing strands with years of practice. Fresh pasta cooks in minutes and costs a fraction of store-bought varieties. It also stretches meals, turning small amounts of meat or sauce into satisfying dishes for large families. Some recipes use dried herbs or a bit of oil for added richness. When made in bulk and dried on racks, these noodles can be stored for months. With no preservatives and full of local eggs, they're more nutritious too. It's a Sunday tradition, a snow day project, and a pantry essential all rolled into one. Amish mayonnaise made in small batches. Amish Mayo skips preservatives and refrigeration altogether. It's so fresh, it doesn't last long enough to spoil. With just egg yolk, oil, vinegar, mustard, and a steady hand. This condiment is emulsified using whisking alone, no blender needed. It's a common Saturday prep job, ensuring fresh mayo for sandwiches and dressings during the week. Because it's made in small portions, it's always fresh, always flavorful, and incredibly affordable. Homemade mayo uses eggs from the coop, oil-pressed or bought in bulk, and pantry staples. And because it's made on demand, there's no risk of waste. Some families flavor it with garlic, herbs, or even pickle brine for variety. It's creamy, rich, and proof that when you ditch convenience, you gain control over your food. Homemade salad dressing. Why buy bottled dressing when you can make dozens of variations from just oil, vinegar, and herbs? Amish salad dressings are as practical as they are flavorful. Most start with a simple base: cider vinegar, home-rendered lard or sunflower oil, sugar, and mustard. Then adapt with whatever's growing in the garden. Chives in spring, dill in summer, dried thyme in winter. The result is fresh, seasonal, and costs just pennies per jar. These dressings are stored in reused glass containers and never rely on preservatives. Amish women often whip up a week's worth during meal prep, adding unique touches like onion juice or boiled egg yolk for creaminess. Not only does this method avoid waste, but it also aligns with the Amish preference for homemade over store-bought, a statement of self-reliance in every drizzle. Plus, there's pride in saying, "I made this," even if it's just dressing. Hot chocolate mix. Amish families create their own hot chocolate mix in bulk using powdered milk, cocoa, sugar, and a pinch of salt. It costs a fraction of commercial packets, about 15 cents per serving, and tastes far richer. The mix is stored in jars and scooped out by the spoonful each morning during winter, especially after chores in freezing barns. Often, the warm drink is mixed with fresh milk from that morning's milking, tying the tradition even deeper into daily life. Variations include adding cinnamon, instant coffee, or vanilla for flavor boosts. It's a treat that children look forward to and a comfort for adults, offering warmth and sweetness when the world outside is icy. Best of all, it cuts out packaging waste and keeps pantry costs low, combining frugality, function, and flavor in every cup. Poor man's steak. When money is tight, steak is off the table, unless you're Amish. Poor man's steak takes ground beef, molds it into patties, and coats it in flour or breadcrumbs before being pan-fried and baked in gravy. The texture mimics premium cuts, and the flavor is rich and savory. Originally developed during the 1920s agricultural depression, this recipe became a staple in tough times. It's often made ahead and frozen in batches, providing future meals with almost no extra work. And it's not just thrifty, it's nutritionally smart. Ground beef tends to have more iron and minerals than lean steak, aligning with Amish health wisdom that the humble cut heals the body. It's a dish born out of hardship, but still served with pride on Amish tables today. Beef bone broth. Before bone broth became a health trend, the Amish were simmering it daily, not because it was fashionable, but because it was frugal. After a cow is butchered, every bone, joint, and connective tissue is saved. These parts are placed in a pot and slow cooked for 24 to 48 hours, extracting gelatin, minerals, and flavor. The result is a deeply nourishing broth that supports joint, gut, and immune health, all without the price tag of supplements or collagen powders. Vinegar is often added to aid in mineral release, a method passed down through generations long before science confirmed its benefit. In Amish culture, broth is given to recovering mothers, sick children, and aging grandparents. It's medicine, tradition, and food all in one, and a shining example of how true value comes from using the whole animal with care. Potato soup without cream in Lancaster County kitchens. Potato soup achieves richness without a drop of cream. Instead, Amish cooks rely on the potato's own starches, slowly simmered and lightly mashed to create a creamy texture that feels indulgent while staying dirt cheap. They often use seconds, bruised or oddly shaped potatoes sold at a discount, proving again that nothing needs to go to waste. A bit of butter, onions, maybe a sprinkle of parsley from the garden, and this becomes the kind of soul-warming bowl you want on a cold day. The cast iron pot it's cooked in even adds iron to the meal, naturally. This soup showcases how technique and tradition can outmatch fancy ingredients, and how you can serve 6 people with less than $1 worth of potatoes and still leave the table satisfied. Clean out the fridge. Breakfast pie Amish kitchens waste nothing, and this recipe is proof. The Clean Out the Fridge pie is a masterclass in frugality and adaptability. Eggs and a simple crust are the foundation, but the real stars are whatever leftovers are on hand. Last night's roasted vegetables, meat scraps, bits of cheese, and even old bread all find new life in this dish. It's perfect in any season. Zucchini and tomatoes in summer, potatoes and preserved peppers in winter. Some families claim they've fed a family of 8 for weeks without grocery shopping by rotating this recipe with other staples. The pie is both economical and spiritual, rooted in the Amish belief that food should not be wasted and that every meal is a gift. It's also deceptively gourmet, with flavors melding beautifully and often tasting better than the original meal. A family favorite and a food budget's best friend. Amish Friendship Bread Starter. This legendary starter is more than a recipe. It's a culture of sharing and savings. Passed between friends and across generations, the Amish Friendship Bread Starter is a live yeast culture that eliminates the need to buy store-bought yeast again. Just by feeding it with basic ingredients, it grows and multiplies, giving you an endless supply of baking potential. Many Amish families have starters that have been kept alive for over 100 years, a testament to the tradition of stewardship. It's also a gift, literally, passed around communities as a symbol of connection. But from a frugal angle, it's brilliant. You save money, avoid preservatives, and maintain an ever-replenishing ingredient that becomes the heart of homemade breads, pancakes, and muffins. Keeping the starter alive for 7 years is considered a sign of household prosperity in some Amish communities, a sign that you've mastered abundance from simplicity. Oatmeal bread. Amish oatmeal bread proves that the cheaper ingredient is sometimes the better one. By mixing oats into standard wheat dough, bakers stretch flour supplies and add heart-healthy beta-glucans, which lower cholesterol. This recipe dates back to wartime rationing when wheat was limited, yet Amish families still needed daily bread. The slight chew and nutty flavor of the oats give this bread a unique texture, ideal for toast or sandwiches. Stone-ground flour and hand-rolled oats make for an artisanal feel, all while saving money. Oats are significantly cheaper than wheat flour, and this recipe uses that to its full advantage. Plus, it keeps bread moist longer, reducing waste from stale loaves. In Amish homes, it's a year-round favorite, and in modern kitchens, it's a perfect way to eat healthier, spend less, and enjoy bakery-quality results without the price tag. Let us know in the comments which recipe you're excited to try first, or if you've already been cooking like the Amish in your own home. And don't forget, this is only part 1. There's so much more to explore in the Amish pantry, from old-world desserts to brilliant food preservation hacks. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and keep your eyes peeled for part 2, where we dive even deeper into the frugal, flavorful world of Amish cooking. Until then, cook simply, eat well, and stretch every dollar like the Amish do.